This is your daily market review for Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, is your daily market review for Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. Sorry for the late recap. I was not feeling great last night, and I had a long day, getting some energy, doing the thing. And so today, action, again, I posted this in the Discord room. It feels very ominous as I'm looking through it. Now, again, this is what we talk about, the big boys, the market makers. Again, if you've read Reminiscence of Stop Operator, the operators, their goal is not to freak out the market or get the market to panic buy at the lows until potentially they've made their moves, right? They like to layer in, they like to reduce their positions, whatever you want to call it. But you can usually see the signs. Now, again, is that a perfect science? Clearly, no one has perfect 100% 20/20 vision. However, we talked about seeing some of those signs. Okay, well, let's dig into it. Because, again, if you're new to this, you're assuming, well, when I think the market's going to dump, it's going to dump. Or the market's going to pop, it's going to pop. No, if you do this long enough, you recognize that's not how it works. There's always some sort of time lag between when you see the signals or you start seeing weird action. And so that's what I want to talk about. We'll dig into the evidence, see what you think. Let me know how I can help. Again, if you're new to the channel, want to check out the Discord room, link description below. If you'd like to chat, Calendly, 30 minutes. Let's do this. If you want to follow, like, subscribe on Twitter, posting trades, ideas, thoughts. Again, if you want to subscribe, hit the notification bell. You will get these videos live when they come popping up. You don't have to worry about when it's going to, when it actually uploads. Again, I have other 2,300 people following. I appreciate you guys. Love support, generous donations. You guys are amazing. If you want to hit the thanks button, I think $2 is a minimum, but whatever. Again, I appreciate it. Again, check out the website. Tons of resources, ideas, thoughts. Let me know how I can help. All right. Again, if you're looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, and you don't hit me up, why? All right, we know next week there's a Fed meeting. Nothing is likely going to happen. Bitcoin. It's really that simple, y'all. Gosh, man, sometimes I don't know why TradingView does this. But we know there's no meeting. We know there was a talk today of, Trump and I can't remember what the exact time was, but him doing some sort of deal with, why is it not uploading the levels? Son of a biscuit. Talking with Ecuador about some sort of Bitcoin exchange. We'll see. Crypto. Again, I apologize, it's not showing up the drawing, but there is a range here. Here's the range lows. Here's the range highs. You need to break out to confirm it. Good old oils we talked about. Hits range highs, probably due to pullback. Be careful. Now even Trump's trying to push down oil by talking and saber rattling to Saudi Arabia, which, again, I understand it. Like, he wants to cut rates. Well, he needs to get inflation down. He needs to get oil down. This is where, again, if you're familiar with what Milo did in Argentina, if you're really going to cut heavy spending, you're going to cause deflation, right? Like, if you go look at the GDP data for the last 4 years, it's essentially government spending. Now, will Trump continue that streak? Again, I don't want to get into that. But look at the Ukraine thing. Like, go look at the actual numbers. And the economy has not been that great. But it has been looked 2 to 3% because of government spending. If you cut out those 2 to 3% and we actually go negative GDP, remember, Argentina went, I think, negative 5.8. Negative 3.6 was what we hit in 2008, 2009. Even if we sniff a negative number, it could get funny. And the market could pull back. And that's where I'm, a little tenuous. Again, I will admit if I'm wrong. Again, we made new highs on the SPY today. Congratulations. We'll see what happens here. I've seen traps. Like, this is what we talk about. Everyone thinks oil's about to break out. Boom, comes right back. We'll see. Natural gas holding up pretty well today. A little flatness, not much to say. Why are you being like this, homie? Anyway, so let's get into it. Dollar bill, right? We talked about this one. Watching what happens when it gets down to this 100-day. This is the XDiv. Bounced back. Made new highs, essentially, with on top of that. Well, we'll see what happens here with dollar bill, y'all. TLT, this is where it gets a little sketchy, right? We talked about the range of the 87s, low 88s being possible resistance, backing down to the 8 and 10 day. We talked about it's hard to get a V bottom. Is this a head and shoulders bottom? This is the key now. You need to hold this 8 and 10 day, close above it. If not, this gap could fill. You can make equivalent lows, higher lows, or lower lows at this point. So just be on red alert. You know how it works if you've been following the channel. VIX. We talked about the VIX complex bottoming down here. Right? Fills the gap. Another doji. Little lower low and a higher high today. Sneaky. We talked about how the VIX complex was bottoming first. Typically does. Here you go. 200-day. Keep an eye on it. SPY broke out new highs. Okay. Can we confirm? That's all I can say. Like, again, you need to clear it. These gaps can be rather funky, right? Like it's this candle, like it's this 2-day kind of action where if you boom back to back in reverse order, it seems a little funky. Again, you can see it a little easier on the Qs. Again, SPY leading. Again, to me, I think the best sector to short is tech. I've been on record. Like, don't be careful. You know, shorting tech to me, there's low risk. Shorting certain names can be dangerous. QQQ, this is what I was watching, highly. Again, we talk about high volume highs and lows, love to retest. Like that's like tractor beam. We're not making new highs here. We're not confirming it, right? IWM, it's been holding up pretty well, bouncing, but look at today's action. We held the gap, we held the range lows, we bounced back, but we're not confirming new highs. See how there's inconsistency in the data here? Idea, I mean, again, it's only 30 stocks. Nice move. I think it was popping on. Can't remember who was in the Dow today that got the pop, but keep an eye on it. So just in general, be safe out there. Again, there's inconclusive evidence, but a bull's wearing off the bottom, bears one off the top last time. And that's where I think we're in this dynamic where it's a trader's market. Make sense? Leave a comment below if you need help understanding that. Because again, there's certain names that are doing great, certain names that are lagging, and certain names that are actually just getting smoked. Makes sense? Gold chopping around. Looks like it wants to break out. I've said this on record. You know, if you disappear from the planet and come back from a year from now, I have zero doubt gold will be higher. But in the meantime, I don't trust it. Because again, the miners, silver, are not confirming. Look at silver, GDX. Again, when the market seems to be decently strong, it's not making new highs, and it's nowhere close to where I think it would be. Like you would think GDX would be up in the 41, 42. GDXJ would be up near 50, 52 minimum. It's not. Keep an eye on this stuff. AEM, again, we talked about this one being the leader of the miners, in my opinion. Making new highs, that doji complex. Keep an eye on it. AG, we talked about this one. It's like it looked like it should be, you know, this one shouldn't be rallying. If silver is going, nope. Newmont should be in the 50s, 60s, like starting to lift. It's not. Keep an eye on this stuff. Again, I personally believe, like as I've told you, in the history of trading miners, they can get really volatile when the market gets spooky. So my personal opinion on it is, yeah, if you disappear, probably going to be good. If you don't disappear and you trade them, you're going to have to absorb some massive volatility potentially, and it's not going to be easy. Does this make sense? Make sense? Make dollars? Keep an eye on it. All right, Taiwan semi. You know, there's some call activity coming out here, and again, watching how it holds up here. Another inside day. Interesting. Will we get the follow through again? Jay Souls was posting about the calls today that were coming in. I'm curious to see. Also saw a lot of put sellers on the key, showing put sellers on the Qs that were buying calls. I'm like, man, that's some really risky shit right at this moment. I'm like, is that Baron Trump? We'll see. Micron, again, we talked about how semi's not following. Look at this gap down. AMD, right? Like making lower highs, lower lows today. I know the candle's green, but curious to see how we hold up. Like NVIDIA, makes sense, right? We talked about this one. Keep an eye on it. I posted, watch the 2-day low. If it holds it, then it can hold, and maybe it gets back into this range right here. If not, again, you got to watch the ranges, the 143.70. Again, if you're on the 10-minute, you can see it clear as day. SMCI in this wedge, it looks like it's breaking out, but you didn't really get much follow through on a doji. That's where it's a little, you know, sketch. Intel, we talked about this. It's a charity if it gets bought out down here. I personally not surprised if it goes nowhere, but again, if you're trading this, congrats. If you're still owning it, hoping that to get to $30, $40, $50, I don't know if you're going to get there, my friends. The AVGO, talked about this breaking the downtrend, and I was watching. I'm like, ugh, right? Like that candle sucked, and this candle doesn't really help. Again, things that wouldn't be happening. You know, if the market really looks strong with the Qs, like that's not how a AVGO should play out. That's just my opinion. Again, it looks like I feel like there could be a 20-point drop in the Qs very quickly. Thought it was going to happen. Potentially start today, start peeling the onion. Didn't happen. We'll see. SMH chopping around again. Gap down. Filled Monday, Tuesday's gap. Tuesdays, and then close right where, you know, basically flat. I mean, again, keep an eye on it, right? It's down, but again, flat, whatever. Adobes, I was watching this one say this could get ugly. If the 20-day breaks, it could come right back down. I mean, this is the thing about downtrends. They don't end very easily. Just like sometimes uptrends don't end like very friendly. They can be very choppy and sloppy. Apple, again, if you really trust the Qs, what is Apple doing down here? What are you doing, Apple? Now, again, are we really not going to touch the 200-day? That would just, that doesn't make sense. I don't know when, but it feels like it will. Amazon, keep an eye on this one. Holding up pretty well. Meta, Again, if you had any shorts, you probably got how to get stopped out today. I mean, you're right back at the high. Again, I like the risk reward if you trade around the position we talked about from up here, down here. Now you're back at the highs. Zoom out. Please, for the love of God, like don't just sit here and go, oh, it's going to the moon. I mean, this thing already went to the moon, folks. This is where the risk reward is. Your risk is that it goes into a chop to break out for reward. But if it's not, and it's actually like this is just the lower amplitude of the next move because it is tired and it's overbought, I mean, it could pull back pretty damn quickly. CRM, we'll see. Again, it just manage your risk, y'all. Talked about this one, gap up on earnings, pulling back, little bounce, maybe 50-day, maybe up to 350. 50 cents. Keep an eye on it, right? Guggenheim, this one it feels like it wants to break out. It's holding up way better than a lot of stocks. Keep an eye, kind of like Amazon, like they're just chopping around. Microsoft caught a bid. We'll see what's going on here. Are they going to buy TikTok? Is that why they're rallying? All right, we'll see. NDAQ, again, I like this as a short, long term. Talked about it hitting the 100-day, bouncing. If you're short of the 1618, you had to trade around your position. Again, not making new highs when the market's making new highs. MicroStrategy, again, if you really believe in Bitcoin, what is this thing doing? It's reloading to go, or is it about to flop? And this is the thing about big moves. This is what I was trying to like warn folks. Like when you get big moves, you lead to consolidation. Consolidation is neither bullish nor bearish. It's meant to wash people out, and it will pull back though. The risk reward is not in your favor, so typically it's more of a selling option strategy. Netflix, we talked about hitting our channel range high inside day today. Might be a gift if you see 999 to short again. Roblox holding up pretty damn well. Again, we talked about selling calls out of the money on Netflix. You cashed them in. IV got holding up pretty damn well. 8 and 10 day seems to be riding that up. You see that blue and black line trailing with it. Looking pretty good. Pan W hits the 187, 190 area. This has been resistance. We talked about the bounce off the 200 day. Like these are the thing about like a lot of these tech names, right? As the market looks like it's up here, where are these guys at? Where's Apple at, right? There's some tech, right? But then there's a lot of tech that's down in the dumps. And when I say dumps, like look where it's at. Like why isn't Tesla up at 500? No, it looks like it's stuck. This is the thing right here. It's getting mixed signals. That's where you have to be careful. Insight, right? Talking about this one. Watching, chopping. Think it's a buyout target. Palantir. I think I'd be careful today. Again, I'm not saying yesterday felt very interesting. Well, guess what Kramer said today? He was like, this stock cannot be stopped. High volume highs. Love to check it out. Again, I'm not saying too short, but I am saying the risk reward makes sense after a huge move from what, like $5-6 up to fucking 84. Like that's a big move, and meaning that you should consolidate. Not saying let's go back to $4, but there's better risk reward shorting. McDonald's holding the 200-day. Could this be a trade here? Again, consolidating here. This thing is lagging the market though, right? DKNG, we talked about this like 40, 41, 4, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, area for a reshort. Cool. Shorted, covered some, stopped out of whatever, starting to reshort, makes sense. Keep an eye on it, tight risk. Keep it simple, keep it tight. Airbnb, chopping around. I mean, this is the thing, right? Even after big down moves, you get chopped. Keep an eye on it. Costco, this one hit the 1,000 level. We talked about that. It said it was probably due to bounce. Look how choppy that is, due to bounce, and here's the choppiness. This is the choppiness that I'm telling you kills people because they start buying calls, getting excited at the highs, and then at the lows they buy puts, and then they get just beat the shit everywhere, and then they lose a ton of money. Not everything has to be straight line moves, y'all, and this is where you have to learn these consolidation reload patterns that are typical. Starbucks seems to be stuck in a typical reload pattern. I mean, if it's going higher and they're actually going to crush it, and Chipotle CEO is the man, then don't be surprised when you pop, almost like 30-40% on his announcement. Now they got to earn it. FedEx getting tired, right? Oh, we'll see what happens here. Again, if you have shorts on this, take some profits potentially, manage it. You're at the range lows. Caterpillar, we talked about how this nice bounce. Wow, we talked about the doji. Did you think it would get up here? I didn't. Look at the wick. It's impressive. I mean, stuff is trading like tech stocks, right? Like tech's down here, certain ones. Obviously, Amazon, Google holding up, but the other ones are not looking like this. And this is where, again, money rotation. Deer, look at this thing. This thing is just bonkers. You had an inside day yesterday, then big green again. Big green. New core. Again, we like commodities long term. New core chopping around. I'd like to see it in a 20. We'll see what happens here. They're a buyout target. VALE, we talked about this one looking like it's bottom with the big volume at the lows. Seems to be holding the 20-day. The one thing about this thing, when it does bottom, I'll just show you guys going back to some older bottoms. It can get kind of sticky, right? Like you're just going to like, oh, it's going, then it's going. No. It might take 2 or 3 months. Does this make sense? You get a nice bounce, and it looks like it's going to go, and then it gets sticky for a couple months. We'll see what happens. Again, I personally think, again, risk-reward, long all day. How is that going to be? Could be a slow, steady, backfilling, slow trade, slow down. Arrow, again, we like junior copper. Not surprised it's bouncing around at the range lows. Would like to see it lower. Again, I want to see these things get pulverized. CCJ talked about, hey, you got to hold the 200-day. You seem to have held it. And then now what happens here in the mid-50s? He didn't make a new high today. So, again, you need to watch that 57.30 area, in my opinion. CF, this one had gotten tagged earlier for calls identified by J Soul. Yeah, and I say his name a lot. Again, if you're in the Discord room, give him a high five, say hello. If you want to donate to him, I mean, I don't doubt. I mean, if you're following his trades, again, this is like tip the dealer kind of thing. Be generous, right? If you're making money off of someone else's mind and ideas, don't be stingy. CF looking pretty solid. Again, we talked about the ag names. We like them. I'm just hoping they're playing games and chopping around at the lows. Man, that's a wicked candle yesterday with Mosaic. I mean, same thing with like NTR. It's like, oh, they look like tops. And like green, giant. But if you zoom out, you go, chop. AA had earnings. This is the reaction. Very choppy. Right? Gap down, wick. Again, we love this stuff. Keep an eye on it. Banks hold a lot of risk, my friends. Keep an eye on this stuff, right? Keep an eye on this stuff. JP Morgan saying today, like, if you really want to take some shorts on this one, now to me, now you're going to be like, oh, again? It's like, well, yeah, if you're going to trade around it and identify highs, now the risk reward is now better in your favor. Now, again, if you bought long-term puts at the highs and you got paid and you took some profits and now you're sitting here reloading and you're going, well, you know what, I define my risk. I get it. It's options. It's buying puts. If I'm buying long dated, does it have to happen today? No, but you do define your risk. I like these gaps, these exhaustive little fuckers after up moves, right? You get like these little gaps. No, that's not really, I mean, I guess that is technically a gap there. But after, again, if it goes from 240 up to 265, I mean, see it along the way. The risk reward becomes more beneficial to short. And now that blows people's mind. How do you see that coming? You don't, but you see repeating patterns, right? Doji, trap, gap up, kind of an indecisive day after exhaustion of volume at the highs. Keep an eye on it. Now, again, you're probability based. Like, no, you shouldn't be sitting here going, oh, everything has to happen the way I think it does. No, sir. Morgan Stanley, I mean, this is very interesting, right? This is why you start digging in. It's like, okay, it looks like JP Morgan's going to be getting free regional banks or something because crap is bad. Bank of America not really getting it, right? Goldman Sachs, chopping around, hitting an old trend line, right? Here's the thing, like KRE, like banks, junior banks, not looking so hot. Not looking so hot. That Hansel, so hot right now. Yeah, watch the 63 area again. Keep an eye on it. XBI, interesting action today. Right? We talked about this one being at the low end of range. Cool to bounce. Cool. Jets, AA's reaction today, not really that great, but here we go. I mean, it feels like, again, look at this move, y'all. I mean, the risk reward, again, it's not that you short indefinitely always and think it's bearish. It's just, again, if Trump is really going to do what he says he's going to do, he's going to try to push that narrative. I've said this over and over. Rip the Band-Aid off. Get it done now. Right? In the first year of his election, it's 4 years, so that hopefully, I mean, thinking the science behind this is that whatever pain that is created will be resolved by the time, it's been digested. That's the way you basically describe it, right? Anyway, Jets holding up, but we'll see what happens here. Benny and the Jets, bump. XHB, right? We've talked about how housing got bopped off the top. Now you're chopping at the 200-day. Again, housing lagging. That's not typical if the market going to look good. Oil, we talked about what happens when you hit the range highs. You back off. Man, this is amazing how the market is very reactive to Trump jawboning. You remember those 4 years? Yeah, that's right. UNG, I hate this product. KOLD, we talked about this. If you took profits down here, for the love of God, you should. You shorted in the 80s, covered in the 50s. You shorted in the 70s. You should be, you know what I mean? Whatever you want to call it. Or you partially covered. Take your time, right? Like, take some profit now. Take some profit. Profit. Just keep it on it, y'all. Again, let me know how I can help. XOP, take some profit, right? We talked about this, like the range. Here's a gap, right? A gap and trap, multi-day range, and then you start melting back slowly. If you hold the 200-day high and tight's good. Just keep an eye on it, right? Right. CVE, we like junior names. Why are they not acting so good? That's where it gets a little confusing. Gasoline names, Valero, nice bounce back to the range highs of recent. Keep an eye on that because can we sustain that? That would be the question you have to ask yourself. MPC, same kind of thing, 100-day. ExxonMobil, we like Exxon, right? We like BP, we like Oxy. They, some look better than others, right? If you look at Oxy and Exxon, they're big chop zones where it looks like BPs we've identified. And again, shout out to Jay Solstice, like propping that trade. Like that looks like freaking awesome. Breaking the downtrend. Yeah, now you're consolidating. Keep an eye on it. Speaking of Oxy, right? Like not Trump, but Buffett ain't gonna lose. Y'all, he just ain't. Big chop zone. You've blown out the bottom. Again, I think what would be ideal for market makers was if their bottom's really in, they need to do some sort of retest or consolidation down here. Because again, they don't want everyone jumping in at the lows. So you got to shake people. You got to get them to quit. You got to get them to be like, damn it, hasn't bottomed. I'll come back later. EQT, again, we talk about consolidation, name leading and holding up, acting well. Nice work. Last but not least, Flex L and Jizzle. Right? I think we'll be natural gas exporters in time. All right. Do you have any questions? Don't hesitate to reach out. If you're looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate and you haven't reached out, it's like, what? What's this going on? But keep in mind, tomorrow's Friday. You have existing home sales, not a ton. Is it possible? And again, could the market play a game in front of the FOMC meeting next week? Absolutely. But is it actually going to like just rip up? Because if it rips up into the FOMC meeting, that to me is very telling. Because maybe they're expecting, Senior Powell to say something and relying on it. I don't know if you're going to be able to get it. We'll see, though. Anyway, have a great, wonderful evening. Hit me up. It's Friday tomorrow. Enjoy the day. Let me know what you need. Holler at your boy. Peace.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.